Riley, thank you so much for being my very first guest on this fireside chat. The purpose of this podcast or this conversation is just to get together and have a deep and meaningful conversation on, how your life's going, your perspective of the world through the lens of a 12-year-old, and just to catch up and talk about stuff. Firstly, I just wanted to start off by asking you how school's going and how you feel about the school system and if it's relevant to the skills of the changing world and how it could better support you. So there's a lot of questions in that little thing, but let's just talk to me. How's school?
How's school? School's pretty alright. My grades are alright. Out of the main four, English, Math, Science, and HAS, I think my strong suits are English and HAS. I'm getting pretty good grades in those. Math, I'm trying to improve on. Same as Science, but Science is getting a bit more interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, and are you having any problems in class, or is there any way teachers can support you better?
Well, for me, I'm a very fidgety, active person. Yeah. So when the teacher just gives me a textbook and tells me what to do, it kind of gets because you're just sitting there for an hour just doing your work. It's not very interactive. So for wriggly kids like me, the teacher, when you're wriggling around in class, when you're meant to be doing this thing for 1 hour, it kind of gets a bit maybe boring, but the teachers interpret it as not as active and fidgety, but maybe bad behavior. So yeah.
And do you think, as a generation, what do you think is most misunderstood in your generation by the older generations or adults?
I don't know. You always get these stereotypical things, but people my age are just always on their phones and don't really care about things. But I don't really know. I don't really come across anyone like that. I don't really...
Well, we were talking the other day and you were saying kids are influenced by their peers and what they see online and YouTube, and there's a certain lingo that goes with kids, like Sigma and oh gosh, I can't name them from the top of my head, but you were saying how some adults get really irritated when the kids bro. It's when they respond and call their parents dude or bro or, the talk.
I guess it's kind of normalized for today's world. But I guess for the older generations, they're more used to everything formal and just everything respectful. It's not bro and stuff isn't respectful. It's just not what they've been taught is respectful. But nowadays things are more casual and stuff, and yeah, so it's it kind of clashes.
Yeah, it clashes, but what do you think the older generation who can't pivot as fast or they can't adapt to the changing ways of the world, what do you think they're going to struggle with, with building a strong relationship with kids or the younger generation?
It might be I can't really speak for all older people.
Well, what you've experienced?
Usually, it kind of clashes a bit because, we have the casual, not disrespectful, but
more relaxed way of expressing yourself?
Younger child, and then you have, the older, respectful, formal, and it kind of, clashes sometimes. But I guess...
What do you think is a solution to meeting halfway or for everybody to get along?
For me, I don't really... For friendships and relationships, you just have to like the person, and then that's just for me. You just have to like their personality, and then go with that. But for other people, I don't know if it really matters for them, but I don't know. I don't really know any solutions. I'm only 12.
Oh, do you okay, you are only 12, but you've been through a lot in the past 2 years. Do you mind talking to me, or if I ask you some personal questions about things you've experienced in the past couple of years? Okay, so last year your grandfather died, and it was the first death that you had experienced with someone really close to you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
and the process of grief?
I don't really mind. There's nothing really that would bother me that you bring up.
Okay. So, just talk me through the process of grief, and how you managed.
Well, it didn't affect me like other people. Like my dad was pretty heartbroken, and same with his siblings, but it didn't affect me as much. I still kind of missed him, but I was still kind of young. It was still slowly interpreting. Nowadays, it's probably affecting me more a bit. Not as much, but more as back then. I actually spoke his eulogy.
Yeah.
I spoke at his funeral. I spoke a eulogy.
It was a good eulogy.
Thank you. But yeah, I was hurt, but not that much, in a way.
Did you have to?
I definitely, compared to other people that I saw, I definitely wasn't as, but I was still close to him.
But not as affected.
Yeah.
And of course, your dad and I went through a divorce.
Oh yeah. So
I do, just for some context, prior to the divorce, I knew you were very worried because you said a lot of the kids in your class, their parents were divorced, and you didn't want to be another statistic. And I don't know what you had in mind, what divorce would look like, but then
I'm kind of glad it ended up like that, because you two still talk to each other every day, and you're very close still.
Yeah, we're good friends.
So, yeah, I don't so other people's parents, they end their relationship on a bad note. You two, when you told me you were having a divorce, after you told us, we went out to lunch together, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Before talking about divorce, what was your idea or perspective of divorce that made you so worried if your parents were going to take the same path?
A lot of people have stepmoms and stepdads, so I was kind of worried I'd have a new parent, but lucky that's not the case yet.
And you were worried that your parents, you wouldn't see your dad, or you wouldn't see your mum.
I definitely wasn't worried about that. If one parent would try to take me away, I knew the other parent wouldn't let them, and I was definitely not worried about that. And you two are very reasonable people, so that wouldn't have happened. That wasn't something on my mind. It was more because I was kind of worried you'd find a new partner and stuff, but when I told you about it, and then you clarified that you didn't want to get into another relationship, and yeah.
You and Declan.
And it's kind of chill now because I get to stay at whatever house I want now, and you two still really close.
And are your needs met? Do you feel supported by both parents?
I do.
I just want to reassure you that you and your brother are my number one priority, and I want to have all of your needs met, and at least until adulthood, you turn 18, I just want you to have that stability and the support that you need while growing up through your teenage years, so you don't have to worry about that. And I just want to ask, I'd like to talk about a little bit about peer pressure and what you've come across since starting high school this year. So obviously it's a new school for you, it's not like primary school, new friends, new everything, new influences. I just want to, I want to explore how peer pressure affects you and what sort of, what things go on in school. What do you talk about? What do the kids talk about that other kids may not tell their parents? I just want all the goss.
Oh, please don't say goss again, please. It was kind of cringe.
Is that not cool?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not really peer pressured or anything. All my friends are quite close to me and they wouldn't pressure me.
Do you see anyone in your age group or anyone in your class or in your environment who is clearly influenced by, negative behavior or doing something that they may not really want to do, but they're just going with what everybody else does?
No, not really. My school's kind of chill.
What do you think is a problem in school in terms of what are some of the rules kids are breaking?
What are some of the
that you
rules
could see?
Kids are breaking?
Mm-hmm.
The teachers are kind of like, they say like no physical like stuff, but like when you're with your mate, you might like wrestle with them and stuff, and you'd still get in trouble. That's the main thing, and it's happened to me sometimes. But I guess like, because as I mentioned back then, the older generation, they used to like formal, and you'd never like see your granddad, and you'd never see your granddad like wrestle with his like with his mate. So like it's kind of like the teachers aren't used to it.
They're all proper, and so tell me about. We were talking about when I say the school system. You were saying how it was outdated, not just the ways of teaching, but what school was originally built for, and and how it hasn't changed in hundreds of years. And you were telling me the history behind school and its structure.
I don't know if it was a history, but like, I don't think like the world is like modernizing, except for like school. Everything is like becoming more modern, except school is kind of staying the same. That's, I don't know.
How do you think school, apart from being interactive, how can it change, or what can they teach to better equip the students, with skills in this modern world?
Well, as like the world is becoming more modern, I think the things that they teach the kids also has to modernize. Like, I don't know, like they don't really teach you like stuff about life in school. I don't think, or at least not high school. They don't tell you how to like run a business, or like to love yourself, or like to stay determined and disciplined and to set goals. There are a lot of things that you need in life, but school doesn't really teach you, but they still teach you like things that you would have needed like maybe 100 years ago, like math, like science, stuff you might not use in your life.
And why do you think they taught that stuff and it was needed hundreds of years ago?
Hundreds of years ago, there probably wouldn't have been such modern businesses with like websites and stuff. So I'm not sure.
Factory work?
Yeah, jobs would have been less modern back in the days. Yeah. So and they were still finding new things out. They are still today, but they were finding new things out. That's maybe why they needed science more, to like connect two and two and make. Yeah.
In school, do they encourage you to openly talk about your feelings or depression or, discomfort of any sort? I know there's support there, but I just wanted to understand, what do you think is the mental wellness or the mental fitness of kids these days at school? Like, what are some of the? I hear anxiety is a big thing. I just want to understand.
Um. So, firstly, does school promote like talking about like your feelings and stuff? For me, I haven't seen much of that. Um. Yeah, like you see so many people that like you think, oh wow, like you see so many people in school and you think, oh, how did they get like this? And it might come back to, oh, they had no one to talk to, so like they ended up like how they are now.
And how are they now? Like, can you
Um,
describe at what state would they be in for you to think, oh, how did they end up like that?
I don't know. You can just kind of tell they
They're
might
not
be
happy?
sad or them angry with themselves and stuff. Like sometimes, like I see people like in the principal's office that are like skipping school and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, damn. And like apparently they get in trouble a lot, and it's like, oh, I don't know.
Do you think it's a problem these days, like where kids feel neglected? Both parents have to work, and the kids have to go school, like, go home and fend for themselves, or they're left for long periods of time on their own without adult supervision.
Um, well, in Australia, we mostly like rely on our resources, so that's why like labor and mining is like a common job here. So that also leads to like fly in and fly out jobs and long periods of time where you're like in the mines and stuff.
So they have a parent or two missing. I
uh,
mean,
I
like
I
one of the
reckon
parents.
I reckon, but I don't know how it's affecting them because I'm not them. I don't know what they're feeling. So, but I definitely know there would be a lot of parents that work like 9 to 5 jobs or mining and labouring.
How do you, what makes you feel most supported at home?
Uh, who do I start off with? Like
Any parents,
you or
grandparents, how, firstly, do you feel supported and um, at home?
I do. There's nothing really that wouldn't make me feel supported. I feel supported that my dad's willing to drive me like to all these trainings and with such a busy schedule, and
He's pretty cool.
that he supports me in my football dreams, and it's got me quite far because I only started football like a few years ago, and I was like really bad. I remember I went to my first football trial in jeans because I didn't know what to expect, so I just showed up there in jeans, and now I'm playing like national NPL, and yeah.
But it takes a lot of discipline and dedication on your behalf as well.
Yeah, it does, but also it's a two how do you say it? It takes two people to like tango or something.
It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, you mean you need that support as well.
Yeah.
Being a child, you need all the supports and the opportunities necessary to get you where you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
also the football trips. Like I'm going to Singapore soon for a tournament, but I couldn't do it without you and my dad paying for it and someone taking me there. And yeah.
so that kind of, yeah, you'd need that support. And I suppose we'd have to move with you if you move to Europe or anything like that.
Hopefully I do move to Europe.
Do you know that you and Declan motivate me? You're a part of my purpose, but you are my why, because I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've told some of my friends that I would love for you and your brother to explore the world and follow your dreams and live on your own terms, and not to be conformed by other people's expectations. And if that means you end up in Europe or America or Southeast Asia, I'd love to stalk you. That's what, I know it sounds a bit. I'd love to. I was just saying, I know, and I don't even know if. Well, that's exactly how it was. I was saying to your dad one time, I said, oh, if Riley ends up playing soccer in Spain or Germany, I want to be like, have an apartment there and say, hi, Riley, want to hang out after your training? So that I don't want to be so far away from you. I want the resources to be able to be close to you, because I've seen like a lot of my friends at school, they were overseas students and they had no option but to leave their country and study for a better life. And their parents had to stay in their home country to work, and the kids will go abroad or come to Australia in this case, and they'd be far from their parents, and then the parents will stay there. They'd grow up in Australia, meet a partner in Australia, set up a life in Australia, and it's just some kids went to London or America, which is further from their hometown, like Malaysia, Singapore, and they very rarely get to see their kids due to the travel expenses, and and they've built their life there, and that's sad to see. So I want to be very mobile and to be able to follow you wherever you are, to continue to give you that support that you may need, Riley, you hear about the word success being thrown around. What does success mean to you? Can you define that for me?
Well, success for me is a sum of lots of different factors. There's hard work, dedication. You always got to look at your goal and review it every day, and always take a step one closer.
Closer. So that's the journey to it. But what does success actually mean? So, for example, for me, success isn't just about achievements and accomplishments in life. It's about how I can add value and make a difference in the world, and how I can... Success to me is, what I can do to inspire others to live their best lives. Yeah, what success means to you. How do you know that you've been successful? Because we know it's a journey, but, what things would you have to achieve to say, I'm really successful at the moment? Is it happiness? Is it good friendships? Have
you ever seen the iceberg thing, where like the top of the iceberg is success, like all your good qualities, but under the ocean is like all that hard work and all the learning. It takes. Success isn't just the top bit; it's also the bottom bit. So it's for me, success is the journey as well, because to be successful, you need to put in the hard work, the dedication.
But what do you think is... How do you know when you have been successful? Is it being the number one football player? Is being successful being rich, being famous, being helping others?
I'll be satisfied when I know I've worked the hardest I can do, and I can and that I'm playing in the highest level that I can be.
In football.
Yeah.
So success to you is achieving a really high level in football.
Or the best I can be.
As a person? All round?
Yeah, anything.
Yeah? Are there questions you'd like to ask me?
Okay,
anything you wonder about the adult world?
Well, what were your focuses when you were my age? Like, I want to look into the,
You want to look backwards into my... Oh, okay. At your
age... And,
age...
kind of compare it to me. Not comparing...
I understand.
Yeah.
I know, comparing what you have now. Times were very different back in those days. My parents raised me and my siblings very differently to how your father and I are raising you at the moment. So we had certain expectations. You know, I have learned from, I've taken what I like, some of the things I like, and some of the things that weren't so comfortable, and hopefully I'm molding. I'm parenting in the way that, you know, that meets your needs and your brother's needs. So, for example, being the eldest out of three, I had a lot of expectations put on me to be responsible, and I had to be selfless, even if that meant sacrificing my needs or what I wanted, you know, and having migrant parents who were not educated in Australia, and English was is their second language. It was, I had to do all the interpreting and fill out the forms and everything like that. So I had
Everything.
Yeah, but that kind of responsibility taught me a lot of things, you know, the responsibility at a young age, and it taught me resilience as well. And I was better prepared for when I left school, you know. So I think, all of that prepared me, and it definitely gave me skills that I needed to run a business, you know. So I definitely didn't get things done for me. You know, I look around these days and I think, oh, so lucky, you know. These days parents have to play a role of a facilitator. So back then my parents just put me in school and the teachers took care of everything, my learning, and, you know, because they couldn't do homework with me. But now parents are expected to sit down with their kids and go through homework and everything, you know. And back then I had to deal with racism as well. So I don't know if that's a thing now in your school.
It is still.
It is, but back then we'd openly be called names, and there'd be bullying, and I had to deal with bullying as well. So it's hard enough when you deal with racism from, from people, like at school we had a group of people, you know, the Italians would be together, the Asians would hang out together, and, you know, the Indians may form a little group. And
really, that's how it was?
Yeah, sort of. No, I was friends with everyone, but you had that predominant group, you know. And my group of Asian friends, it's hard enough to be bullied altogether, but to have that close knit where you have such a common background and to be bullied by someone in that group was especially hard.
You were bullied by Asians?
It's not by Asians. I was definitely bullied, and back then you just had to deal with it. And I understand.
Didn't you say once you were being bullied because you're like too popular or something?
No, it's not popular. It's just back then when you're young, you don't understand the reasons for bullying, and my parents never taught me why the bully was acting the way that they are. The communication wasn't there, that nurturing communication, you know. So I felt I had to fend for myself, and in the sense that when I was bullied, I just couldn't tell my parents. I don't know why, and I couldn't tell the teachers because I didn't want to get the bully in trouble. I felt very isolated. Isolated. Even though I had, you know, I had friends and
support system.
I don't know about the support system, but if you're being bullied, there is no support system in the sense that you feel very alone. And I couldn't talk to my parents.
I wouldn't really know that feeling, not having a support system. But I've never really been bullied, so like...
It's not a nice feeling.
I can empathise for you, but I can't relate, really.
Relate, yeah, that's one of the main things. I'd never want any child or anybody to be in that situation. But, you know, this girl, was very nasty. She'd be friendly and then nasty, and she'd do some things that were very clearly it wasn't right, and it made me feel bad. And
Like,
she was being
do you mind
mean.
giving some examples, or you're not comfortable?
She was being mean on purpose. Like, she'd be looking at me and whispering to someone, making it very obvious she's talking about me. I remember we all walked to the shops and we all jumped on the scale. And I was taller than most of them, you know, and they all weighed 40 to 45 kilos.
What?
But I was the heaviest. I weighed in at, I think I was 50 kilos back then, you know, I was not a big child.
That's
I was
fine.
not a big
I'm
child.
50 kilos.
Yeah, but I was not a big
Maybe
child.
it's just muscle.
And this
it's
was,
the muscle.
no, but I was 15.
Oh.
And then they would,
That's kind of light.
they would be like, you know, they clearly sneer and laugh out loud and say,
Even
oh my
your
goodness.
friends?
Yeah, oh my goodness, you're fat. Well, this is it. They were supposedly my friends, and I called them my friends. We hung out together.
Was this Auntie Kwan as well?
No, Auntie Kwan's beautiful. Let's not mention names, but she stuck up for me. She was my best friend. We were super close, and no, but this girl was really out to be mean to me on purpose. And one day in class after school, I burst into tears. And she knew she had pushed the line, like she had pushed it too far, you know, crossed the line. And the teacher came to me and said, you know, why are you crying? And it wasn't often that I cried. And I just shook my head, and I just couldn't get it out. And that bully was standing outside the class watching me, because she knew that it was her, and I didn't want to get her in trouble, you know. But I just couldn't tell the teacher, and it's just so hard. Back now it's easy, like now it's easy to let kids know.
Was she like really
let a
mean?
teacher know.
You should say her name.
No,
You should expose
she was
her.
mean, and she's got daughters now, and I don't wish anything upon, like, in this day and age where image is important and social media, and it's really tough in a way that...
Have you seen her since?
Yeah.
Was it awkward?
But that doesn't matter.
Was
no,
it?
it wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't.
Yep.
I just gave her a hug. I've forgiven her.
Oh, that would have been...
You know, and it did take a lot, and it was a harrowing experience, but a lot of people can't overcome that trauma, you know, and it drags them right down for a big part of their lives, and it triggers them going forward, you know. So, yeah, that's my experience, but times have changed.
They have.
Technology and everything.
You don't really see much bullying nowadays.
You don't, but what about the internet bullying where it's done
Cyberbullying?
online? Yes,
I don't know,
cyberbullying.
because I want to be a professional footballer, so I've cut out social media. So I wouldn't really know that. I don't play any video games and stuff whatsoever.
If you were bullied at school, what would you do? Would you be comfortable to come tell me?
Oh, personally, all my mates would stick up for me.
Okay, so you're in a good... Okay.
Like, I have like year 11 and like year 9 and year 10 friends, and they would all like... There was this one time though, this guy was being a loser. And...
He wasn't being very nice?
Yeah. And he was just like, he kept like tugging on my bag, and I was getting really annoyed. So then like, he was sitting down like playing on his laptop, and then I got all of my like year 11 and like year 10 friends, and they all like were behind me, and I went up to him and I was like, still want to tug on my bag? And then like, I don't know, it was kind of like, it was funny. But yeah.
Do you think...
Me and him are mates now.
You are? Oh, that...
We're
that
always
ended.
mates. Like, well, I don't know, he was just being annoying. I'm not really like enemies with anyone.
That helped. It helps.
Can I ask another question?
Of course you can.
What was like, were you like me, like fidgety and stuff in school, or like were you like naughty or what?
I wasn't fidgety. I was scared of getting in trouble because back then you would get the cane. They'd smack you. That's another big difference. Teachers had the right to smack you, you know, and I didn't want... I I didn't want, it was embarrassing to be told off in front of everyone by a teacher, let alone being smacked with a
I
ruler.
like the attention. I like
You know?
getting in trouble.
Yeah, but no.
I don't like getting in trouble. I just like
Yeah, there are other ways of getting attention, like drama or do acting classes. But
I love it when I yell out a joke in class and then everyone's laughing, but I get sent out of class. I'm walking out of class, but everyone's still laughing at my joke. Good feeling.
That's no. I didn't. No, I didn't experience that. I just, I wouldn't say I was naughty. I would daydream a lot. And I would, oh gosh, maybe it's symptoms of ADHD, I'm not sure, but maybe everybody goes through this. But if I wasn't interested in a subject, I loved English and English lit. Didn't like maths because in my mind, logically, I'm thinking, why do I have to know this stuff in terms of maths? Because
that's what I'm thinking.
When I leave school, I don't want a job that involves maths because I don't like maths. Math.
But like you have calculators and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not the... Yeah. So I would zone out. I still passed, got my grades, but I daydream a lot.
Is passed like 90% or is passed like 51% for you? Like when you mean you passed 70%? Math. Okay, that's good. That's decent.
Yeah. But I did know... I tried all different things, work experience. I wanted to be a doctor, a nurse. Never wanted to be things like a scientist or didn't want to be...
footballer, like sports?
No, never really played sport. Not quite interested in sport. But I didn't want to be like an engineer, or not that many females did back then, or anything like that, So when I left school, everyone went to uni naturally, and I didn't want to go to uni because there was nothing in uni that I wanted to do. And I was thinking, well, why go to uni and just do a course if I don't know what I want to do yet? So I went and did an office and secretarial diploma, and that was very useful for me.
And you didn't really play sports that much?
No. Oh, just what I had to at school. But
didn't you play
tennis? I wasn't into competitive sport, no. And I didn't do extracurricular sports.
You don't like that sport that much?
I don't know if I had the opportunity. My parents were more like, okay, you've gone to school, you've got what you need. There was no extracurricular activities. And we just... they didn't drive us anywhere, or I was fine.
You're not that interested in sports?
No.
Oh, it makes sense. When we're watching the basketball and you yell, hole in one.
I'm still not. I don't do that. I'm still not into sport. Riley, I'd like to ask some things that I don't know if other parents talk about this, or, I just want to put it out there, the issue of vaping. Mm-hmm. Like, are there kids who vape at school? Is that how they say
Yeah,
vape?
there are a lot of kids that vape at school.
What do you know about vaping? See, I don't smoke, and I don't know what it is. I just know it's chemicals, there are fruit flavours, it's nicotine.
It's bright and colourful.
They're bright and colourful?
It's like attractive to people.
Oh, that can't be good. So that's why kids find it attractive.
Yeah.
What are teachers doing about it? And
nothing. Like everyone's like vaping in the bathrooms and stuff.
Really?
I think it tastes nice.
Have you tried it?
No. I'm joking. I haven't vaped.
Okay.
I can't vape because it'll make my stamina worse.
What do you?
I promise I haven't vaped.
I know that's okay, but what do you know about vaping?
Like what? It's addictive.
It is?
Yeah, of course. It doesn't have like nicotine.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
addictive.
Know.
It is?
Do you know what drugs are?
Yep, I do. Do you speak to older kids who talk about vaping
Oh
or
yeah,
drugs?
I speak to like my year 8 friend.
Year
He
8?
vaped and his parents caught him.
And
I was oh, that would have been, I don't know.
how did they react?
He's one, I don't know. He said they were kind of chill about it and try to laugh it off. But he's one of the kids that like I'm like, ooh, a bit dodgy. Because
how when you come across kids that you don't feel comfortable with, do you stay away from them, or do you want to get to know them better, or
I just don't talk to them.
okay? And do your friendship groups, apart from what the teachers teach you, do you talk about sex?
No. We talk about it in health.
In health
Yeah.
at school right now?
Yeah. No, we're talking about like,
How do you feel about it when
we're talking about like smoking and health right now.
smoking? Have you done, have the teachers taught you up until this point, even in primary school, you've had sex education?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
And you're 12?
Yeah.
Oh, this is surprising. We learnt when we were 11.
Oh.
A bit uncomfortable.
I have tingles in my tummy now.
Okay. We won't talk about
Bit
that then.
strange.
A bit strange.
I have a question for you now. Did you have any like idols or people you looked up to when you were my age?
Idols. I didn't have idols because back then, business owners were not celebrities, like Elon and, so I liked Michael Jackson and Madonna.
Elon was like 12.
No, but that's, no, I'm just saying these
Oh,
days,
yeah.
like business owners,
yeah.
Bill Gates, they've got celebrity status. Back then, we just music, movie stars and Madonna and Michael Jackson, to be specific.
Yeah. Would they did you have anyone you looked up to though? Oh, it'd be cool to be him, or her.
No, I can't say I did. I just had a crush on Superman.
Oh yeah, you told me.
But other than that, no.
Oh, okay. Also, when you were my age, what did your schedule look like? Your weekly schedule. It's your turn now.
Oh, I didn't have...
Didn't you play the flute or something?
No, the recorder in Year 3. But no, I had no musical talent whatsoever. I still don't. I didn't have that kind of support where we did extracurricular stuff, so I didn't really get the opportunity to explore my interests. I like drawing,
Did you have an art class? Did you join an art class?
Yeah, we did art class, but nothing extracurricular. So I just came home.
Nothing?
Did my homework. Nothing.
What'd you do? Did your
Nothing.
homework? Did you have a Nintendo?
Homework.
Like-
Had a Nintendo. No video games back then. I read a lot. I loved reading.
So what would you do?
Love reading.
Walk me through your day. What time would you wake up?
Get up at 7.
And then
Have breakfast.
at what time?
Go to school.
Okay.
Have breakfast at 7:30.
What would you
Dad
have for
will
breakfast?
take me to school.
What would you have for breakfast?
Leftovers of dinner, a sandwich, some salad.
Cereal?
Yeah, sometimes
What
cereal
kind of
wasn't
cereal?
a thing. Oh gosh, what did I have back then? I don't even think. No, not Fruit Loops. Very rarely cornflakes.
Oh yeah.
Cornflakes.
So yeah, at school,
Then we'd go to school
come back.
and then come home.
And
It'll
then-
be about 3:30, and then have a shower, do some homework, watch TV back then.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the 2 or 3 channels we had.
What would you watch?
Oh, I would come back, even when I was in year 9 or 10, I'd watch Sesame Street and Play School because
And
that
you
was
were
what they were.
12?
Yeah, and I'd get, the kids would tease me. But you know what? I like
Yeah.
Play School.
Oh, you should. Did you?
There wasn't much
Did you
else
play
to
with
watch.
toys with Auntie?
No, my sister, no.
Yeah.
We had some toys, but Mum wasn't a fan of buying all these toys.
Oh, yeah.
She liked to spend on experiences and food.
Oh yeah.
So
So
my
that
upbringing
what
was
time would you
different.
have dinner?
5, 6.
And what
then
time
we
would you go to bed?
9.
So then
Or
from 3:30 to 9,
9.
from 3:30 to 9, you're saying you just read and did
I read a
homework.
lot. Yeah,
Like,
I read
surely you had
books.
something else to do.
No, not really. TV, and I read books.
Damn, that must have been like, I don't know.
Boring.
For
We
me,
had no
I have a
tablets,
really packed
no
schedule,
computers.
and I can't imagine not having a packed schedule. Like, I can't imagine going home in the afternoon and having nothing to do.
This is preparing you for, this kind of supported pressure, I feel, is preparing you for after school, or managing a more hectic schedule
I
as
like
you
the
move
hectic
through
schedule though.
high school.
It will make me better.
Yeah. And what are some skills you've learnt this past year since being in high school?
Football or
Like
academic?
resilience, for example.
Oh yeah, I learned my determination and dedication. I have to wake up I don't get that much sleep. I have to change my whole diet, but hopefully it'll all pay off when I become a professional footballer.
Awesome.